welcome, Haj.
Thank you.
So I arrived at DC last night, and this morning I have been in many closed-door meetings with some of our important government customers. I have to say it's been really humbling just to hear about all the amazing work you're doing, from forest services to health services to financial services to refugee services. And we're extremely excited to host this summit so that we can partner with you to allow you to do your job better. And I'm extremely privileged to have this chance to have the conversation with Haj. So this conversation is finally happening because we've been planning it for many, many months. And he and I got to meet before this in-person meeting over Zoom for a few times. And what struck me from my interaction with Haj is he's the type of leader who's working on a big mission, have a very bold vision, but also is extremely grounded in the reality of what's the state of infrastructure, technology, and how he put that to work. So really honored to have this opportunity to talk together.
Great. Thank you. No, Yanbing, thank you. First off, and what people will find is that I'm all about gratitude. So first off, Yanbing, thank you to you and Team Datadog for having me here. Thanks to the audience, too, for participating. I'm looking forward to this discussion. And then, you and I have been talking, and so we've got to know each other very well.
Yeah.
And I think that hopefully you get a lot out of this, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm looking forward to the conversation here.
Likewise. And as you can see on the screen, we're going to focus on these 4 themes today. And these themes have been repeatedly echoed in my conversation with Haj, in my conversation with customers today, and before that. All of you are trying to drive modernization on top of systems with many years of history. But the most important thing is the modernization is not just for tech's sake. You're trying to link it to the mission of your agency, your institution is serving. So that mission-driven modernization is going to be a critical topic. But as you do that, security, compliance, and trust becomes paramount. That's non-negotiable for the public sector. And in the meantime, how can you do that efficiently when you deal with cost and budget pressure? And certainly we won't be leaving the room without talking about the big elephant in the room around AI. AI brings huge promise, huge opportunity, but also a tremendous amount of risk, new attack surface that we want to be able to handle responsibly. So I'm going to, we will take you through each of those themes. Between Haj and myself, we're going to share our thoughts around these topics. Yeah, so let's start with mission-driven modernization. Haj, when you think about this modernization task at Ginnie Mae, how do you anchor that mission outcome and together on top of the technology, innovation, and evolution? And also, how can you do so very successfully in an environment that's very hybrid, has legacy and new cloud and on-prem?
Absolutely. So great question and great start. So if there's a theme, ladies and gentlemen, that I want Yanbing and Datadog and you all to walk away out here when you see me and think about Ginnie Mae and you think about Haj Ramos, I want you to think about when it's modernization, optimization, it's responsive IT and simplified IT. That's my charge and my lead as the CIO of Ginnie Mae and as well as the CIO Council and all things CIO and the CISO. Responsive IT is really coming to market quickly. And in regards to modernization, at Ginnie and a lot of government organizations, we have to come to market quickly, which basically means come with products, come with them soon. We've had these products for years. What do we do with them? We have to kind of go out there. What I'm looking to do is really come to the customer. Customers are internal, customers are external, want to be responsive to them in regards to their needs and get to them with either software processes or more modernized approaches and more focus and looking on what that means. And then on the simplified side is really, I always use the example of, hey, Mr. Ramos, we have these spreadsheets, ... and I stop right there. We need to simplify your environment, get you out of the manual kind of pieces that we've been doing for years. And let's talk about either technology or a new way of focus and getting you to do more efficiency. And I know we'll talk about AI here shortly. For modernization, ladies and gentlemen, I think that the one theme that I like to want to introduce is that it's not necessarily a rip out and replace, which seems to be a lot of leaders that they come in, they want to change the world. I am one of those people that came in, and I learned that I have to learn the business, I have to learn the technology and the infrastructure, but I also too have to know the customer base and what they need. So just know that you can't come into an organization and rip things out. Yes, you may have a mainframe. Yes, you have end-of-life software, Windows 2003. I know a lot of people will cringe on that, and we just can't come in and do it because there's business practices and business functions that are doing that. And I did talk about the mainframe. That's a reality. I know a lot of folks are out there. They have their mainframe. At first, I thought mainframe, I'm going to come in and I'm going to rip it out and modernize this whole environment. And what I found out, it's very resilient. Folks have been using it for years. And, before I can come in, I better come in with a strategy that says, before I rip it out, well, that's the wrong word, right? Before I transition it out, we will actually do this. So for modernization, I want to talk about too about incremental. It's not rip out and replace. You have to be very, very strategic about it. Know your infrastructure first as a CIO. Talk to your CISO. What security parameters do we have to look at? The data, if that's most important. How are we going to get that to continue if we modernize and optimize the environment? And then, obsolete, I talked about obsolete and low-value apps. That's where you start first. That's my recommendation. As you modernize your environment, understand which ones are the low-value applications. Those are the ones that you can modernize and you can optimize quickly and effectively, and then you gradually go into bigger applications and then transition over. And then ultimately, it's opportunity too. Modernization, for me, brings an opportunity of minimizing or reducing your IT footprint. Kind of like now we have like all these systems that actually are out there and we build them to scale, right? That's the things. We build them, I guess they build them bigger, badder than we need, and we find out we have more landscape than we need. In this day of efficiency, ladies and gentlemen, it's good and an opportunity to when you modernize and optimize, is really to reduce your IT footprint. And then just final words on that. A lot of people think that they're going to listen to me and say, we're going to use the Ginnie Mae blueprint for modernization. Ladies and gentlemen, understand too, you already know this, that one modernization plan that works for one organization won't work for you. So basically, I want you to look and tailor your environment, understand it, and then as the CIO, that's my big thing. I have to understand my environment, know what the business objectives are, don't actually make sure we can do the mission critical stuff, and then move forward. And then modernization is not overnight, ladies and gentlemen. It's a journey, so it may take months, it could take years. Just be patient and then roll with it that way. So I'll turn it over to you, ma'am.
That's so well said, Haj. A few take away from me, understanding the complexity, understanding that it is a journey, looking at both the different type of systems as mainframe or more modern system, and also be sensitive to workload and applications. What do you choose to, modernize first versus, it seems like a much more nuanced approach. I had the good fortune of working for technically advanced organization, and I want to share a story, from my experience when I was responsible for observability at Google. This is several years ago. Google is a clean slate, modern, large-scale, planetary-scale infrastructure, and they were the first to build it. And they kind of invented the SRE practice, for example. They would not ship anything into production without observability, without the operating paradigm being clearly defined. And they had the luxury of do so because that's how they had that clean slate approach. But when I shift to build observability at Datadog and serve the breadth of the customers we have, and especially no customer is like Google. Actually, most of our customers are more complex than Google. Despite Google's scale, this truly large scale, they have the scale, but they actually don't have the complexity that all of our customers have. What our customers have is almost sometimes like a computer history museum of different infrastructure, different generations of database technology, different type of business application, and different different type of programming languages. So from as a vendor for Datadog, our position is to be able to leave none of these workload, none of these infrastructure, and none of these environment behind. Right. So from infrastructure level to application level to understanding user behavior. We want to provide that single pane of glass of observability to this super complex, super heterogeneous environment. And what we hear from customers like yourself, Haj, is despite the diversity, the heterogeneous nature of your environment, you want to have a single pane of glass of observability because it becomes even more important rather than having your observability silo. You need that, consistent visibility across all these different environments.
Exactly.
And I'm excited to hear that serving this type of use case is critical to our customers' modernization journey.
Right on. All I can say is I echo that and well said.
So maybe moving to the next topics regarding security, compliance, and trust. We've been talking about security, compliance requirements, and certainly knowing this is extremely high in a public sector. And we've been talking about zero trust and all these new technical approach. So how are you thinking about evolving your security posture in today's threat landscape? And I have to say, with the global environment we're in, with the emerging technologies that we see around AI, is just getting exponentially more complex.
Absolutely. So great question. And so I'll just start off, for those of you that have not trolled my LinkedIn profile, yes, I was a former cybersecurity person, still am. And I think the beauty of being a CIO and in my position is that I do have that in my back pocket in regards to compliance, items such as you just mentioned, FedRAMP, Zero Trust. We have the new cybersecurity strategy just put out by the White House. It's all about compliance, 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 and then governance, 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 and then we've got cybersecurity. With that leverage, and I talked a little bit about modernization, it's always good to talk to the CISO and make sure that you're in line with what they have to say and just be partnered up. That's something that I've learned being in the new position because I was on the other side. In regards to compliance, I know that we have to align with a lot of compliance and standards according to the federal government, and we do our best without really wrecking the environment or kind of bricking a server because you've hardened it to a point where you've checked the box, et cetera. But I think that the balance is really, from when I talked about modernization, it goes incremental. Know the environment and then work with your organization to say what makes sense. What is the crown jewels first off for your organization? For most of them, it's actually data. And then it comes down to people and then infrastructure and then of the likes, what I'll call the core of the organization. Work with your organization to kind of make what makes sense. Zero trust, yes, you can kind of implement everything, but then again, unfortunately, you may brick your environment and then you're not working for business the next day. But I think, too, on the sense of compliance and governance, the bad guys and the bad girls, the threat actors, aren't waiting for you to be compliant, ladies and gentlemen. You have to take action now. What I like to talk to my folks about is less words and more action. And I know you can't harden the environment immediately, but take action. The call is the immediate. Do it now. Do what's effective for your organization because, again, you're trying to keep the bad guys and the bad girls out. But also, too, the bad guys and the bad girls, unfortunately, that are kind of resonating or sitting in our environment, the insider threat, you have to kind of alleviate that as well. But it's also, too, a never-ending battle. I just had a conversation with one of my stakeholders, and they said, well, when you got the zero trust done, Haj, what is next? And I said, wait a minute. Zero trust isn't going to be done. It always does because we're going to implement new things. You, by the way, stakeholder, want this new toy. So zero trust is ongoing. So it's actually a journey. Continue thinking. Don't think there's an end to it whatsoever. And then you hear the term continuous monitoring. So from the effect of governance, risk, and compliance, those are your compliance and controls, but also, too, from your technical perspective, your security operations center folks have to be very vigilant. I was just talking to one of my strategic partners out there. I can see him right now. I know that actually when I don't get any news from the security operations center, all is good. I don't need to know, but then when they tell me, I do know. So they remain vigilant. My federal staff remains vigilant. And then most part really is just balance cybersecurity and your compliance. It's good to be compliant, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I know we have to have the high scores, but you actually, your priority is really the security and your environment. Protect the outer borders, protect the inside, protect the data. For Ginnie Mae, we're unique because most federal government organizations are domestic. Ginnie Mae, we have actually partners across the pond. So, we have global partners that we have to do, so we can't necessarily geofence our organization to saying no international traffic whatsoever. Boy, we would lose business whatsoever. But we actually have a strategy and have worked to where we can actually, one-off. We know who our partners are and then kind of, zero trust it out. And then they can communicate with us and then my SOC doesn't disconnect them because it's coming from over the pond somewhere. And then for the most part, that's it. I think that stay vigilant, ladies and gentlemen. Continue to invest in your cybersecurity and security programs. What I like to say too, is also not only hear your cybersecurity people, but listen to them because it matters. And then as a CIO, balance it, and you can be compliant, but also too, you can be secure.
So Haj, so many golden nuggets from here. I heard certainly compliance, that's critical. Continuous monitoring, it's because security is never done.
Yes, ma'am.
And there is investment in people, process, tooling, data, it's really across the board. And this actually resonate really with me as coming from the industry. So, certainly Datadog as a vendor, we're here because we see serving the public sector is a key part of our investment, and we put a lot of investment in investing for getting ourselves to operate at the FedRAMP high level. We're making investment in establishing IO file readiness so that we can serve the defense customers, and also in terms of the product capability we offer fundamentally observability is in our blood. The core of Datadog is to provide high quality, real-time, deep observability across everywhere of our customers' investment, from infrastructure to applications to user behaviors to data in their system to the behaviors of AI agents in their environment. So, really having that continuous real-time end-to-end monitoring is a crucial foundation for that security outcome. I know it sounds cheesy to say that you can't secure what you can't observe. We literally practice that because we're leveraging our vast experience in observabilities to help our customer achieve the security outcome. I think the other thing you touch upon is this, it's not just securing the fences, it's everywhere.
Yes, ma'am.
For us, the way we think about it is, from code to our customers' cloud and infrastructure, to their data, to their AI agent, to their human, operators in the environment. That's also another thing we're trying to build.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, a lot to talk about in the security, compliance, and trust. I think we have a dedicated session on that also later today, so I'm looking forward to learning more from that segment. We also know, all of you and yourself included, Haj, you're under tremendous budgetary pressure to operate more efficiently, and there's, plethora of technology that's that can help with efficiency, but fundamentally that's also how you operate. Yeah. How you invest in technology to allow you to move fast, but maintain efficiency still. I'd love to hear how you think about that. Right. What does that efficiency look like in Ginnie Mae?
Happy to talk about that at high level, right? So the past year and a half has been all about efficiency, right? So the federal government has gone through a couple of things, most of them, and I won't name them by name, the instances, but we learned more about what efficiency is, reduction in staff, budget cuts, and then, staff reductions and staff loss. Yeah. And what does that mean? For IT, unfortunately, what I've told folks, we can have all those cuts, but the show still goes on, right? So really, what do I do to maintain the infrastructure as a federal government agency in regards to efficiency? Let me give you some history and some story, so some statistics, and I'm not trying to get the violin or anything, but a staff reduction of 60% is no bueno for an IT agency, but it happens. Loss of particular contracts, IT-specific efficiencies happens. And versus, throwing my hands up in the air as a CIO and just saying, oh my, woe is me, call to action. You really still have to maintain the mission function of the organization. So what does that mean? Efficiency meant, really for me, I'm not going to get my staff back anytime soon, so people are going to have to do dual roles. You're not going to just serve as the quarterback, but you're going to be the running back too, and oh, by the way, you're going to play defense. So the call to battle there was really to challenge the folks and say, hey, I really need us to do X. And wouldn't you know, and I call them a high-octane staff. I do have a staff that I truly love and I tout because they come to work every day no matter how bad the situation is. Motivate them. They know what the mission is. Mr. Ramos, we know this is what we have to do. What do you need? So what that meant was really for efficiency was really having 5 divisions became 3 divisions. Mm-hmm. Operations and cyber, hey, you all are going to have to kind of get together and start rolling. And again, this is just a blueprint. This is not doesn't going to work for everybody, but just a recommendation. But it worked for us. And honestly, the operations people worked with the cyber folks. Mm-hmm. The data folks, they worked with the modernization people. And what we had, what I call doing the maximum with the minimum, came to true effect. I didn't lose anybody. Nobody left because that's what change does, right? Sometimes change, some people are there, others are like, I'm done with this, I'm out. But they did stay and they were very resilient and we moved forward. The budgets still remain short. I mean, we're right now a year and a half in and we're recovering. So again, versus throwing the hands up in the air, woe is me, call to action. What can we do with the current systems and applications and money that we have? And basically, again, theme, max with the minimum, right? And then do more with less. My example that I like to, and I know we've talked about it here, is that brought opportunity for me as a CIO for modernization and optimization. We had applications that were running for 30 plus years. Hey, that worked 30 years ago, but here and the now with the efficiency, I think I see 5 applications in the stack. I see 1 application out there that's cutting edge, that's Datadog-ish. Can I use that as an adjective? Datadog-ish that can come in and take out the 5 and do what the 5 does, efficiency. Remove, bring it in, and then I save money, and guess what? We got added technology, added kind of efficiencies and capabilities. So really, it's live and learn. Don't drop your hand and say that nothing's going to happen, but then again, also too for cutting edge, don't wait for the technology to come to you, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the technology. Do your market research. Look to people. Lean on your strategic partners, which is what I always say. We lean with Datadog. I know I have other partners. I don't know it all in regards to IT, nor does my staff. But lean on your strategic partners out there that you have, your vendors, your teammates, and then also 2 people outside the organization that can help you and make things more efficient.
Certainly, we are, fortunate to be part of, that partner that you work with. Yes, a few things that really resonate. Think about the efficiency is, fundamentally breaking down also silos, allow you to, operate much more efficiently.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is both the siloing of the tools, but also siloing of the organizations and responsibility. And we've seen this over and over in our customer base. They may be operating with 20 different observability tools for different silos of their technology stack, and therefore replications of teams, tool spend that's duplicative. When things become on top of a single platform, not only we have that simple organization, simple operating model, but actually the real magic is when you bring all these things together, you actually have much better visibility into what's happening in a system, between security and observability, be able to solve problems together.
Yes,
that's, So even though often the motivation is simplicity and efficiency, but often what we actually see sometimes is just better outcomes, better mission outcomes.
Absolutely.
So, on the efficiency gain, so often many organizations have wanted to leverage, AI as a way to drive efficiency. But we all struggle to see the real ROI for AI, and especially, let's go to the next theme of, as we adopt more AI, there is this fear of, I don't know whether I'm getting real ROI, and I mostly also worry that I'm going to lose control, lose visibility of my environment. How do you approach that? Driving innovation, but in the meantime, staying on top of the responsibility, safety, security concerns?
Yes, ma'am. So good question, and I'll actually leapfrog off from efficiency to AI. So as being I'm still a cybersecurity professional. When I was doing cyber, it was always, hey, Hodge, you're the no in innovation. That meant AI, right? So you said no to everything and didn't have a reason. However, with AI and being a CIO, it's time to not necessarily say no to artificial intelligence. It's how can we embrace it and make it work for us. The approach that I take for AI within my organization is I'm looking for AI that can actually be enterprise for the organization. Enterprise meaning I don't really kind of scratch the itch of one person, I'm scratching the itch of the whole enterprise. Which one will actually do us very well, or what can automate our features or AI-ish on the inside. And then I look to the program offices. They're the priority after that, and then after that I call the one-offs, right? So the secretary says, hey, I want this AI kind of thing that can do it. Hey, that's pretty cool, but you know what? I got to look at the enterprise first. And then you got to do what's really from a simplicity or really a responsive IT, simplified IT, what can AI do for you? I think that also it comes first to really awareness. People say, I need AI, Hodge, for this. Well, do you need AI, the product, or do you need automation? You may need automation, that's not AI, so kind of decouple that and give them awareness, my lens. But also to embrace it. Look out there, again, I always lean on my strategic partners, our vendors, to kind of tell us what's good, what's bad, because again, I don't know everything, so I lean to the strategic partners to ask me, what can do best in regards to maybe a SIM platform? What can I do for efficiencies for chief financial officer of the likes? But I think too, we can't wait and drag our feet. We can't take this long process to review. I believe that we have to be very secure, but we do have to move quickly and effectively and fast, because guess what? Everyone already knows that the bad guys and the bad girls are using that same AI technology to attack us and get into our environments. We should do the same. We should be proactive versus reactive. And I do have to, and my CISO will not, he'll hate me if I don't say this, but yeah, we got governance, we got guardrails, privacy, and security, right? So we got to build that in as we do our market research. My approach to that is, we talked about this earlier, is that people wait for governance. When is the government going to come with governance? What are they going to tell us what the guardrails are? Ladies and gentlemen, the call is to, now you have to start. You have to, yourself, start and be that action, be that catalyst to build the governance within your organization, because you know your environment, right? Build your guardrails. It's good to say that thou shalt not use ChatGPT. However, if you don't put that technical guardrail or that technical piece, people are going to go around and they're going to use it. They're going to use it. However, you need to tell them how they can use it, what's safe, what's effective. That's your guardrails. And then privacy, security of the likes. Of course, don't put your PII out there when you know it's not going to go out there. But I think that there are going to be some solutions out there that we can tailor to our environment. You can do the same thing with your environment to where those guardrails and the governments can be effective. Continue to evaluate Gen AI platforms. Again, I keep saying, and sorry to be so repetitive in regards to leaning on your strategic partners. We look to our vendors really to say, hey, what's best in Gen AI? And of course, everybody has built their own platform. They come to scale, and then all of a sudden, it's your decision as a CIO or a leader to kind of come forward with that. I think that a couple use cases are out there. There are some things that you can do immediate and effectively that doesn't impact PII or security. More or less automation and kind of making things effectively. Remember the example on spreadsheets. I know that there's also there's a use case for us and many that are for invoicing for your CFO. Hey, you know what? We got these spreadsheets and it takes me 10 hours to do this. Well, you know what? With the AI capability, we can kind of lessen that for 1 hour And then guess what? The 3 people that are using it, efficiency, you're going to have them do more with what they're doing. I do like the terms in regards to agentic AI. That's just me. That's not the voice of Ginnie Mae, but that's just me, Ramos. What better way to arm your front lines with data than agentic AI with your security operations center? No more going in there hand-pecking your SIM and looking for things. Agentic AI, I think in many cases, can kind of come in and give the information up front. Again, arming your front line with that data to make the decisions quickly and effectively. I think that that's a good use case. And then data analytics. I think that for those of you that are building data lake houses of the likes, I think you can go quicker, faster, efficient, and lean on your partner, whatever product that you choose, but you can do analytics quicker, faster. I like to have more or less predictive capabilities and advanced, what I call advanced data capabilities versus hand-pecking and then kind of doing what we've done of the likes. But AI will help you learn. It'll help you move quicker, faster. And from a government perspective, I think it's good to do your homework, but you got to come to market quick. Use the technology, what's best for you, but again, to do it securely and do it, and you have privacy in mind. So,
I love the way that you're truly embracing AI with these specific, recommendations of use cases, but still do it with that, compliance in mind.
Yes, ma'am.
Before Datadog, I had the opportunity to lead the development of self-driving trucks, and at a company called Aurora. And Aurora is the first company to operate commercial driverless trucks on U.S. highways, at 70 miles per hour in Texas to begin with. And it was interesting. That was absolutely mission critical, safety critical AI.
Yes,
and at the time, in order for us to achieve this driverless operation, meaning you absolutely have no doubt.
Yes,
so there was a notion of verifiable AI. And certainly, self-driving was developed on the previous generation of ML AI, where now, as we think about generative AI and LLM-based AI, there's extremely high degrees of undeterministic nature in those, but verifiability still remains as a core in order for you to trust deploying AI in truly mission-critical use cases. And this is where, from a Datadog point of view, why we invested in end-to-end, AI observability. One of our customer, CISO, was telling me they want to know, they run a pretty sophisticated AI stack that's, running on their own hosted GPUs with models and agents and applications on top. What this CISO tell me is, I need a end-to-end observability stack that tell me my GPUs physically where they are, so they're not smuggled out of, from my data center to elsewhere. They need to know at any given time what type of models are running, what type of agent behavior, who's talking to what are the prompts input and output, who have access to those agents, and what does the agent have access to, because agents are going to soon outnumber human as the users of software and technology. So this is a CISO that basically decided in order for him to trust their AI deployment, they believe these end-to-end AI observability is a must-have, and that's why as a vendor ourselves, that's where we are definitely investing in. But observability is not the only thing. I think you touch upon also governance and responsible use of AI. If I look at CIOs, CAIOs, or CISO, again, understanding what's your AI ecosystem look like, what kind of commercial agents, third-party agent, homegrown agents you have in your environment, and who's accessing them, what do they have access to? This AI governance is also something that's extremely important. So, Haj, I know we have limited time, and we've touched upon these 4 themes of modernization and security, efficiency and responsible AI. What I'm taking away is innovations are exciting, modernization exciting, but they must be done in a responsible way, and we must be remaining in control. And often, a loss of that depending on having good monitoring and observability into the system. And also to us, partnership is key. You know, we're working with partners, we're working with all of you in a room to make this happen. You know, that's some of my takeaway. I would love to hear yours, Haj.
Absolutely. So thank you again. It's all about gratitude. Again, thank you very much, Yanbing and Team Datadog, for the opportunity to speak in front of you. Thanks to you for your time. The takeaways that I have here, and I'm going to use some imagery here, the single pane of glass meets responsive IT and simplified IT. Just some of the things that you want to take away from here. Leadership. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, you and yourself are all leaders. It aligns, you make sure you align your vision with mission reality, which we talked about here mostly. Compliance, I know we mentioned that a couple of times. I won't say it anymore again, but keep that in mind. IT cybersecurity as you focus or laser focus on some of the technologies and processes that you have. And then what's key here is that, you know, public and private collaboration is essential. Lean on each other, lean within your own organizations to make things happen. Lean on your partners and the people that you network here and that you see every day in regards to, you know, not only modernization, optimization, but also to artificial intelligence. And for the most part, that's what I have to take away today. And thank you very much. I'll turn it over to you, Yanbing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Haj. What
thank
a pleasure.
you so much. Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to all of you.